The last great frost fair. Something lurks beneath the ice. Can the Doctor and Bill figure out how to save old London town before they're all fed to the beast below? No, not the beast below, because that was a different episode. But here we go. Episode 3 for Season 10 of Doctor Who, today in the Vortex.
Broadcast amplitude at maximum capacity. Transmitting through time and space in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Vortex.
Voices from the Vortex Reviews, Series 10, Episode 3, Thin Ice.
Something lurks beneath.
Look out, children.
Don't look at the lights. Don't look at the lights. Don't look at the lights.
Hey, everybody, how you doing?
Hi, guys. This is Matt.
This is Taylor.
We're Voices from the... Oh, I thought you were going to...
Oh, no, sorry. Ready? We're
Voices from the
Vortex. Sure. All right, another time.
We'll get it at the end.
We'll get it in
another
post.
time.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
everybody?
guys. Listen, episode 3 of season 10 is here and gone.
Yeah, and it was great.
Boy, was it good.
You know, and it's continuing in the fashion of having cold-themed episodes named by Mr. Freeze from the Batman and Robin movie. First you had Cold War, and then you have Thin Ice.
and what was the one from series 1 with Charles Dickens?
Oh, it was the Ghosts of something, wasn't it?
I thought it was. Wow. Okay. Researching that while we talk about other things. Segueing.
Yeah. Gosh, it's been a while since I've seen that one. But yeah, no, I was just laughing because it was, Thin Ice and Cold War, and next will be, I don't know,
Freeze.
Freeze. Stay cool, bird boy.
Freeze. Stay cool.
So, what'd you think of this episode, Matt?
Let me tell you something. I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was very well done. We said this on the first one, and the second one was good too. Like, don't get me wrong. Smile was decent, but following in the same vein as the first episode of the season, this is really Capaldi at his best. I'm so excited for this season. This episode proved once again how much chemistry Capaldi can have with someone who's not Jenna Louise Coleman. And I'll say Pearl Mackie just slays it in this episode.
Oh yeah, no, the acting in this episode is phenomenal, both from Pearl Mackie and Capaldi. They're so good. And it didn't help that they had it helped that they had a great story to go along with this. I thought this was a really good story. And it had lots of really good themes in it, and it was just exciting to watch, and it was funny, and it was interesting, and yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
This is so when we're looking at the plot of the story, as you guys know, you just saw it, and that's why you're listening to us talk about it. You've got the Doctor and Bill, and I would hope the Doctor and Bill in the last great Frost Fair. There is a monster in the Thames, and apparently it's always been there. And some greedy businessman, stupid human, his family have been exploiting it for a long time, and he's exploiting it even more now. So during the Frost Fair, and the Doctor and Bill.
Face their greatest villain, capitalism.
They face capitalism and racism.
Yeah,
and racism. We'll get to that punch in a minute, guys.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. This is another... So I made the Beast Below reference at the beginning of this podcast, and the reason why is because there are so many really good parallels that don't involve just a giant beast underneath humanity.
Right.
But the one I love the most is, if you remember from Matt Smith's time, the line about you can't just do it. You can't just walk past a child crying. You know, he has to involve himself. And in this one, Capaldi knows there's something going on, and more particularly, he sees that there's something going on underneath the ice, and he's worried for the people on top of it. But it isn't until he faces off with these kids, and he sees that the kids are in real danger, that he just can't ignore it. He can't walk past it.
Right.
And I really like that. I really like that it's obvious this is still the same man. Mm-hmm. This is still the Doctor, very much so.
Well, and the other parallel is that, this beast is being used sort of for the greater good. And I know there's a lot of...
Right.
He talks a lot about how, he's doing it for money and all this stuff. However, the beast poops fuel that burns, 10 times hotter than whatever, and it burns underwater and all this other stuff, that would revolutionize energy, for the world. So, it is a good thing, but, it's not good that it's eating people and this and that. So there's kind of that balance too that you have with the Beast Below, where that was for the greater good, so that they would survive and be able to fly off into space. So yeah, you're right. This episode did have a lot of parallels to that. Another episode this had a parallel to, I thought, was Kill the Moon. There was the scene where they were talking, and he tells her, I'm not going to make the decision. You make the decision. I'm not from this planet. I'm going to do what you tell me to do. You speak for Earth right now. And that reminded me of Kill the Moon when he so selfishly left and made Clara deal with the whole situation. And that was his excuse, is what he said, is, you're the humans, you deal with it.
That's kind of interesting too, because you and I have talked about, and I discussed at great length, and I think this is what Moffat was trying to do with Capaldi. Is Capaldi was trying to turn Clara into him. Mm-hmm. He was trying to breed another Doctor, so to speak. Breed is a bad word, but he was trying to build a better Doctor, a human Doctor, someone who could do all the things that he needed them to do, a best friend for him, but also, would be human. And when we saw how that ended, he built the better friend, he built the better companion, and it was the hybrid. It almost led them to their doom. Mm-hmm. And Clara had to forget her. They had to do that whole thing where one of them would forget the other, and it's good that the Doctor would forget her, otherwise he keeps searching for her. But now it looks like he's doing the same thing with Bill. Once again, he's giving Bill... Not giving her. He's forcing her to take the action and to make these choices
he's
to become like him.
Yeah, he's her teacher.
Well, he is. He's the professor.
Literally.
Yeah, he's teaching her. And he's teaching her how to be a better human. And I love that because, what do you do when you're 2,000 years old and you've seen it all and you've done it all, and the universe is going to be in danger again? You don't just you don't just keep running into it and doing it yourself. You start training others. He's taking to heart the fact that there are always an army. There's always a Doctor's army out there, and I think he's really this is a part of it. He's teaching her to be a part of his army.
Yeah, definitely. That's very good analysis there. I would totally agree with that. So. This story, I saw, before it came out, they were like, oh, this story is going to touch on racism, and it's going to touch on, some of the problems in society we have today. And I think it did that, and it did a really good job of it. I love the line, near the beginning where she's like, oh, 17th century, London, it's a lot darker than I would have thought. And he's like, so is Jesus. And then he mentions whitewashing, and that's that is a big problem in Hollywood and in and as you see in history, and so I think they did a good job of touching on that, and racism, I think the message is clear when the Doctor just punches a racist right square in the jaw.
That was the best. Did anyone else finally like? There are some really great Capaldi moments that make him feel like the Doctor, but that right there, that's my Doctor. I don't care what anyone else says.
That was really great.
Like,
especially with the whole speech leading up to it.
Yeah, the lead up where he tells Bill, no, you get angry, just sit down, let me talk.
Yeah.
And the guy comes in and just immediately is the most racist jerk the show has ever seen, and the Doctor just right across the jaw.
Right.
Loved it. Every moment of that was perfect.
Yeah, it's always good in my book, right? Punching out racists, hey, that's good.
It's the Captain America punches Hitler moment. You know, it's absolutely the punch you've been waiting for.
Yes, exactly.
So I'll tell you, I'm really enjoying Bill as a character in this. I really am, and she's starting to remind me a lot of Donna. And just the brashness and the boldness and how she just doesn't put up with the Doctor's bull.
Yeah, for sure. I can think of one instance where she asks him, have you ever killed anyone? Have you murdered a man? And
murder man.
And he's sort of trying to BS through it and say, well, there's certain situations. And it reminded me of, I think it's the end of Mummy on the Orient Express, where he's telling Clara, like sometimes you have to make bad decisions, even if they're he's kind of got this answer, and it's almost like he's trying to give that answer to Bill, and she's like, no, that's not what I asked. Answer the question. Have you killed someone? And he's like, well, look, there's been situations where you have, and he's like, no. Answer the question.
Yeah.
And she doesn't take his bull, and she knows what she wants, and she knows when something isn't right, and she's going to call him out on it.
Well, and you need a companion like that. Clara went along with everything the Doctor said. We've had 2 years of a companion just kind of doing what the Doctor asks and believing in Capaldi and believing in the Doctor. And it's nice to have a companion that stands up to him and says, I'm from Earth and these are my values and I don't care. You have to conform to them just a little bit and you have to answer what, my questions. And if my question is uncomfortable, tough, Doctor. That's really what we're getting from Bill.
Yeah.
She is happy to travel and to see these things, and she's excited to be a part of it, clearly, but she will not take a backseat to the Doctor's morality. No. And that's something that Capaldi has built, where David and Matt had the morality of humans first, and always save the humans, do everything you can to bring peace. Bill, very much so, her morality is it's humans first, nothing else. I'll be kind as best as I can, but we absolutely humans first. And Capaldi has proven himself time and again that that's not what he stands for. He even got mad at her in the last episode when she talked about proper robot, and he said, well, that's he even said that's racist. Like that's he doesn't put up with anyone.
He should have punched her right in the face.
Should just be his answer to everything. Just punching a person in the face. Yes, but no, he doesn't. He doesn't view. This Doctor does not view humanity the way previous ones have, or the way we do. Obviously, we're human, but this episode did have a very important moment that we can talk about in a minute if you'd like. It's he gives a speech about humanity and just how perfect the Doctor really does see us and how much he really does love us. And I seriously, for the first time, Capaldi was the Doctor, really, truly the Doctor, right there.
Yeah, no, that was it. We can talk about that. That was a great speech. I love that speech. And
it's a defining Capaldi speech.
It is. He's had a lot of really good speeches and a lot of really good moments. And yeah, you're right. This is definitely one of them. This is, it wasn't as long as the war speech from the Zygon one, but this is up there. This is a great speech. Kudos to the guy who wrote this episode, or the I don't remember who wrote this one. But yeah, that was fantastic.
Looking that up too.
Look it up, Matthew. Look it up. So I loved the moment when the kid falls through the ice and Bill's like,
oh, it was sad though.
She's like, save him. And he's like, I'm sorry, there's nothing to do. She's like, do something and save him. It was such a it was another one of those moments that reminded me of Donna, where in the Pompeii episode where she's like, save somebody, save someone.
Right.
And then, but it also reminded me a little bit of Amy, sort of that attitude of, then what good are you? If you can't save him, then what are you here for? that sort of moment that Amy had. And I just love that stuff in Doctor Who. That is such, that character development of those two.
Right.
And anytime there's a new companion and they find out what kind of man he is, and then what kind of, person he has to be to live the life that he lives. And so, yeah, really fantastic stuff in this episode.
Incidentally, looking it up, the writer of this episode, Sarah Dollard, who also previously had written Face the Raven from Series 9.
Oh,
Which deals with a lot of very big themes and ideas of what is who is the Doctor, what is the Doctor, what is the purpose of him.
Bravo.
Brava. Brava. No, I absolutely agree with you. And, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch the show because so often you do get frustrated watching episodes that just don't mesh with what you think is the Doctor, or is the TARDIS, or is the companion. Mm-hmm. It's sort of incongruous to your mind. You can't put that image and the image of what you think it should be together and line them up. And I love episodes like this because they step out and they define things for us. They further define what we imagine the Doctor is. This will further define the Doctor for me, and will play out through the rest of. So the next time he does something that's not very human-centric, that's going to stick out like a sore thumb. The next time he says something like, "Well, it's not my planet. I don't care." That's not going to mesh with me. So maybe that's the point. Maybe this Doctor has changed. Maybe he starts his 12th incarnation, or as sort of tired of the human race, and he still loves us, but he's tired of us, and he wants to love everything and everyone.
Planet of the pudding brains, right off the bat.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
he's kind of sick. He's sick of our shit. He's just done with us. And then by season 9, he's much more lovable and much more open. But again, season 9 didn't deal with a lot of human stuff. And the time that it did, it had to do with humans and Zygons. So he was kind of...
humans at their
towed
worst.
the line.
Yeah.
And Zygons at their worst.
No, right.
Well, not their worst, but close.
At their normal.
I would say Zygons. At their normal. At their pretty mundane, actually. Pretty decent. Dressed up for Sunday best. No, but he definitely, this season, he has changed. Because even from the first episode of the season, he was teaching humans. He was a teacher, a professor, trying to show humanity something new and teach them how science and poetry are the same thing.
Yeah.
And, so now he's trying to better us. This season really is the Doctor we know and love. He's finally come back home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I am loving everything they're doing with Capaldi, this season, and I think it's just great that they found it. They found exactly where Capaldi needs to be, and you're right, he has changed, and maybe that was the plan all along. It was a plan that made us not really like the Doctor at first, but it was a plan that is interesting. It's a really interesting sort of character arc for this regeneration of the Doctor, and it'll be interesting to see where he ends up, before he regenerates. So,
right.
So yeah.
This episode looked beautiful too.
Oh, it did. It was good. I think, I say it every season, but the production value gets better and better. And
I have to believe that the amount of money they're given each season has to be doubling every season.
yeah,
it has to be an exponential increase of some sort.
Yeah, I mean the CGI alone is great. Is so much better. You've got
but the atmosphere when they're in the diving suits under the water and the eye opens up. I mean, I got shivers. I got every hair in the back of my neck stood up, and I thought you would never have seen this. Even in Matt Smith's time, you wouldn't have seen this. Mm-hmm. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So we got to talk about the end.
Well, that scene.
Yes. which was spoiled for me online, and I'm just going to say, darn you, Facebook groups. Just if you're gonna post something, post, let's talk about the end. I'm okay with that. Like, that's fine. You're like, oh, that scene, or like it's redacted or something. That's fine. I don't mind. But don't spoil it in the headline. That's just ridiculous. Why? But
right.
It was still...
Or the picture.
Yeah, with the picture, and, the headline says, who was knocking in the vault? And I'm like, God, why? Why?
Right.
So, still... It was pretty awesome, though. It did not spoil Nardal's reaction, which spoke volumes of who could possibly be in there, or what is knocking in there. His reaction was he was afraid, and he tried to be, sort of brave and say, look. The doctor may be distracted. He might have a new companion or whatever, but I'm still here, so you better look out. Which is funny. But yeah, I don't know who.
So
I have theories, but it's all people we know are coming back later in the series. Missy or maybe Johnson's
we don't know.
We don't. Yeah.
We have no idea who... Okay, and I just want to make sure I point that out, because I'm sick and tired of seeing continuing stories where people are like, oh, that guy played that guy in that 50th anniversary thing, so he's coming back. Like, guys, no, come on. First off, there are no reports of that being filmed on set. Secondly, it's all supposition from people who have no idea. Stop saying it like it's the truth.
I know.
But here's the other thing, too. You say Nardal was scared. I don't think he was scared. I think he was very nervous. I think he heard the knocking and he says all those things, and then you see him like you think, whoa, he's freaking out a little and he runs away. Mm-hmm. But I think it's more he doesn't know what to do and he needs the doctor. Right. And so he's so nervous, he just kind of like runs to get the doctor because nothing was whatever he expected wasn't supposed to be doing that inside the vault. So. But it's a person. It's a thing. It's something.
It's a living thing
that's alive.
And I always assumed that like maybe there was a person, like maybe there was somebody in there, but I didn't really think that maybe it was like a prisoner. Like somebody who they're keeping in the vault. Maybe against their will. I never had had thought of that.
Could it be? Could it be Prisoner Zero?
Oh God.
I'm kidding. Clearly he's had other prisoners too.
That's right.
No, you're right. So whoever's in there, but here's the other thing too. Just because someone might be on the other side of those doors knocking doesn't mean that they can't open them at any time. They just might not want to or should be allowed to. They might be following some sort of protocol or oath. And, the way Nardal spoke doesn't necessarily mean that the person is a prisoner. It could just mean the person isn't supposed to come out. Mm-hmm. So, I think back on, and when I was young and I was put in time out, maybe I was sent to my room and told not to come out, I might knock on the door, kind of like, say hello from the other side. but I didn't come out because I wasn't supposed to. So it doesn't. But that's an example of being in trouble. But I'm still saying anyone who's in there, maybe they're in there because they're hiding. Maybe they're in there because they can't be. They're not supposed to be seen. And this is them just trying to get someone's attention. And Nardole is suddenly shocked because he's like, "You're not supposed to make noise. You know,
you're not supposed to do that.
Knock it off." So I don't know. I'm very intrigued. This is definitely the season arc. Obviously, this is going to lead into the finale. This will be the last 2 episodes, and that's fine. But
sure,
they're definitely early on. They're playing it up.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a good little extra bit to add. Oh, now a little more clues as to what's in there. It's like, oh, now we know it's something alive. So it's not just more of, hey, there's something in the vault. We know,
can a Cyberman be alive? Could it be a Cyberman?
Maybe. It could be. Who knows? So, this episode had a lot of good quotes in it that I really liked. One of the best ones was at the beginning, the doctor says, hey, go down there and there'll be some dresses. And earlier they're talking about how the TARDIS, likes to take him where there's trouble. And so then Bill says, oh, the TARDIS has dresses and likes a bit of trouble? Okay, I think I'm low-key in love with her.
That's a great Bill line. Bill, yes. Bill gets some of the best lines in this season. She really does.
Oh, she really does. She's really, really great.
So, one of my favorite things is he calls himself Dr. Disco. But is that a throwback to the Return of Dr. Mysterio?
No, that's a throwback to, I believe, the Zygon inversion or the invasion. Maybe the first episode when he calls Clara, and he's like, "Hey, it's Dr. Disco,"
right.
And she calls him back, and she's like, "Did you just call yourself Dr. Disco?"
Exactly.
I don't know.
That's
I don't know where he gets that from, but I love it, and I love that that's his alias later. It comes back. That was perfect. Oh god, the part that was really funny in this episode, and probably the funniest line in this episode, was when she goes. They're telling her about the fuel and he goes, it burns underwater, and she goes, no, shh, and then it cuts. And it cuts. The cut was perfect. It was so good.
That was absolutely one of the best lines in the episode.
And one of my favorite doctor lines in this episode was when she says, I forget what she says to him, and he says, "Don't be smug. Smug belongs to me." It's like, that's true.
Absolutely. Is it just me, or is he sassier in this season than he has been in other seasons?
He is pretty sassy. There's a whole bit about
this is
her friend Pete, who disappeared.
Who's Pete?
Yeah.
She they've got such a budding relationship, like a friendship.
Oh yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah,
it
really
isn't
great.
just teacher student.
Well, and you're right. It's not just teacher student. There is that dynamic there, but he's more buddy with her, I would think, than I would say Clara. The way he was with Clara, it was their relationship. They were close, but they didn't. These two, they joke around more. They joke around. They pal around. She sort of brings out this silly side in him, and he's always cracking jokes with her because I think he has to keep up with her. is the way you can see it, because she's so funny and she's so witty, and she does ask these different questions that we never think, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta up my game and really pay attention to what she's saying."
Yeah, he's well, and he seems like not like a grandpa, but like an uncle, and
yeah.
and like the fun uncle that's just kind of taking her on a fun day trip, and he's being goofy with her, and he's a funkle. He's a fun uncle, or a grunkle, or a grumpy uncle.
Yep, that's right. So, final
For all
thoughts.
you Gravity Falls fans. out there.
Yes, that's right.
Final thoughts. Yeah, what are your final thoughts on this?
My
Tim?
final thoughts on this episode, it was fantastic. It was better than the last one, and I'd say so far this is my favorite one. The pilot was good, but I think this is my favorite one so far. I really like the story. I really like the way the dynamic and sort of the argument that the Doctor and Bill had, and how they worked it out, and how later the Doctor really shows his humanity with that speech, and again, just the aesthetic of the episode was great. Old Victorian London, and then they go underwater, and it was fantastic. So, really great, really great. I liked it a lot.
I will share your opinions there on all of those points, and I will also say this: it's rare to get it has been rare in the Capaldi era to get an episode which defined the Doctor more so than any other moment. Matt Smith got them all the time. David got them all the time. Chris got them in his very short run. Obviously, Chris got them in almost every episode. And for Capaldi, it is rare to get a moment like that humanity speech or punching the capitalist. It's rare to get that moment where he really defines himself again and says, no, it's me. I'm the Doctor. I'm right here, and I'm doing the things you expect from me. And that's what this episode was for me. The pilot was great. Last episode was good. Smile wasn't bad. It just wasn't as great as it could be. I can't put my finger on it. But this episode absolutely was as enjoyable, if not more enjoyable, than the pilot. And it does redefine the Doctor for us as who he is. And I love that. I absolutely love that.
Calculating. Voices from the Vortex gives Thin Ice 8 out of 10.
Well, that one's done. So now we move on to
Oh my god, that promo. Oh my god, that promo.
Oh my god, that promo. It's a spooky one.
It is a spooky one. You know what? I think one of the most underrated episodes of Doctor Who is the hider in the house, the ghost episode.
Right.
Hyde.
Yeah, I
the ghost
love that
episode from
I do.
season 7.
Yeah, that one was
People
really great.
forget how scary Doctor Who can be.
Yeah.
And I am excited because this is going to be, I believe, that scary kind of haunted house mystery, murder mystery, even like this guy who apparently they're renting the house from seems super creepy, and maybe he's taking out his evil and frustrations on these girls that show up to rent the house. And this is the one. Now, keep in mind too. Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, I like the idea that we're going to get to see sort of more of Bill's personal life and how she's got her 5 friends and they're all renting this big house. And then but then the Doctor shows up. She's like, you're renting this house? This is, and he's just like sticks his nose in her business.
He can't help it, but I'm wondering if it's even going to be that, or if he's going to be she's off to do her thing. He shows up there investigating because it's something else to investigate, and they end up bumping into each other. Like, wait a minute, but wait, and that's it. So the Doctor's like, wow. I did want to say is one of the things I liked about this. This was the one. This is the one that Moffat kept teasing, saying, "Oh, there's going to be a great episode where why do the floors creak? It's not what you think it is." And Capaldi teased that too. So I think this is the one about the creatures that live inside the wood of a house. And I'm really excited for this because that's a lofty idea, and I want to see it play out. I really do.
Yeah, it looks great, and you're right. The episode Hyde in Series 7 was a really, really great episode. And, and it got just so good. You got Matt Smith and Clara in there together. back when Clara was new. And that episode was really good, and I liked a lot sort of the idea that he's investigating the supernatural.
Right.
And it seems like, it's just ghosts in the house or something, but then no, there's a scientific explanation behind it, and it's still scary what happens. But even though it's not really ghosts, it's something even worse, or it's something not so bad, but it's really creepy. So I'm excited to see this. Yeah. One thing I noticed in this trailer was there
a tuning fork.
It's what?
A tuning fork. Guy had a tuning fork.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. So something with vibrations. I noticed. I think I saw maybe look like a person made out of wood. Some kind of like wooden creature, like a face, and it made me think of.
I saw a hand.
Yeah, it made me think of the wood people from the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. That Christmas special back then, where he went to the forest, and there were those wood people. I guess they were tree people, tree people, wood people. But I wonder if this will reference that, or if it has anything to do with that creature or that race of aliens or whatever. So that'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I remember seeing the hand. I don't remember seeing like a face or anything.
Well, it might not have been in this
so
trailer, but I think maybe in some of the other trailers.
Right.
And I think maybe I'm projecting it onto this one. But yeah, this episode looks really good, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. So
I completely agree, and I'm very excited for the idea of, again, another ghost story.
Yes.
If they don't make at least one Scooby-Doo reference with the Scooby Gang, I will be highly disappointed.
I mean, they really should. Her and her friends there. It's like it's Scooby and the gang, and the Doctor is Scooby-Doo. He's the Doctor. Where are you? That's what we need. That's what we need in this episode.
That's perfect.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us again this week. We will be back next week with another one.
When we'll be back next week when we review the episode called Oxygen, written by Jamie Matheson. He said, not looking at Wikipedia.
I believe it's called Knock Knock. So.
Oh, I'm looking ahead. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry, guys. We were just talking about it. I'm stupid. Knock Knock, written by Mike Bartlett.
So you were being sarcastic, and
said,
you actually were looking at Wikipedia.
Again, not looking at Wikipedia. Maybe, I don't know. Shut up. You don't know. You don't know me.
That's really great that it was Knock Knock is the next episode, and this last one ended with knocking on the vault door.
To be fair, the one after that should be entitled "Who's There?" Like,
who's there?
If I was. Doctor Who's there. If I was writing the titles for Doctor Who, we would be punning it up every day. Alright, guys. Thanks for joining us again. We really appreciate it. Remember, we're Voices from the Vortex. You're listening to us either on YouTube or on iTunes. Make sure to like our stuff, follow us on Facebook, share us, do all that cool stuff that we never really talk about that you should do, but you should do anyway because you love us. And join us again next week for another exciting adventure. Voices from the Vortex reviews.
Ditto.
Oh, shit. This has been another Voices from the Vortex review for Series 10, starring Matthew Whitecamp as Matt the Time Lord, Taylor Davidson as Taylor the Time Lord, and Danielle Davidson as the sexy voice of the TARDIS. All views expressed are the opinions of the two dudes from Gallifrey, and as such should be taken extremely seriously. Follow Voices from the Vortex on all social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Subscribe to us on iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the podcast, please email us at voicesfromthevortex@gmail.com. Doctor Who and all related materials are copyright BBC, and no infringement of copyright is intended. It's heavily implied, but never intended. All material is fan fiction of a satirical nature. Please, Mr. Moffat, don't sue us. We know you have a sense of humor. See you next time In the Vortex!
Temporal flight engaged. Returning to the Vortex. End of transmission.